Back after this very quick break with Jose Marichan and his children. Be right back.
Linsky General Merchandise, San Pedro District, Pagadian City, at bang sa balay sa mga pawaran kaniadto na maligya sa mga makina o piyesa sa mga nagkalain-laing sakyanan, sama sa 10-wheeler, forward, elf, bungo ug daghan pang uban. Tag-iya ug tagdumala mao si Madam Arlene Solihon Fernandez ug si handsome boy Jesse Fernandez, ang pinakailado nga surplus center sa Pagadian City, Zamboanga del Sur. Linsky General Merchandise.
Bang, bang.
Libre ko San Miguel Beer, basta akin ang tansan.
Tansan?
Sa San Miguel Oktoberfest Instant GCash Panalo Promo, uulan ng up to 100 million pesos in GCash prizes. Buy any San Miguel beer, hanapin ang code sa crown. Kung meron, panalo ka! Iscan ang QR code sa mga posters at Facebook. I-type ang code and win!
Sali na!
Available in areas where allowed. See posters for full details. Promo runs from September 1 to December 31, 2021. Per DOH FDA CFR permit number 0424 series of 2021. Drink responsibly. Tandaan, laging i-check ang ilalim ng tansan kung may winning code. Drink responsibly.
Ringo Honasan po. Sa pagbangon ng mga Pilipino, saludo ako sa mga taong patuloy na humaharap sa hamon ng pagbabago.
Bilang sundalo, tinataya kong aking buhay para sa ating kapayapaan.
Sa panahon ng pandemya, kami ang patuloy na humaharap sa frontline 24 oras.
Kaming mga guro ang gumagabay sa edukasyon ng mga kabataan.
Sa panahon ng krisis, ikaw, ako, magtulungan tayo. Ringo Honasan po. Saludo ako sa Pilipino.
Loren Legarda po. 18 years akong senador at nagsulong ng mga batas na nakakatulong sa mga nangangailangan. Free college education law.
Para sa aming edukasyon.
MSME law.
Batas para sa aming kabuhayan.
Climate Change Act.
Mga batas para sa kalikasan at climate change.
Mga batas na ginawa ko na napapakinabangan ngayon. Sana makatulong pa ako sa mas marami.
Loren Legarda.
This is a paid advertisement.
DXKP Pagadian, ang inyong Radyo Ronda RPN. Radio Philippines Network. Radio Philippines Network. Live to the world, pinaagi sa FB page, karon mag-download na. Pinaagi sa Google Play og Apple Store, YouTube og Twitter. Alang sa mas kipakuskan nga mga balita, komentaryo, kasayuran og kalingawan. Ang mas kipakuskan nga inyong Radyo Ronda. Member, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas. RPN DXKP Pagadian, ang inyong Radyo Ronda RPN. Radio Philippines Network. Radio Philippines Network. Live to the world, pinaagi sa FB page, karon mag-download na. Pinaagi sa Google Play og Apple Store, YouTube og Twitter. Alang sa mas kipakuskan nga mga balita, komentaryo, kasayuran og kalingawan. Ang mas kipakuskan nga inyong Radyo Ronda. Member, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
image of Santo Niño was among the gifts presented to Queen Juana, wife of Raha Humabon, before her baptism. The cross and the image of the Blessed Mother were the other gifts given to her according to Antonio P.
A child again. The time of year when there's magic in the air. Wherever I go, love is streaming everywhere. The people I meet on the street, I wanna greet them with a cheer. The first sign of Christmas begins on the first December morn. The reason for the season is baby Jesus being born. Forgive the hurts and disappointments of the past, and let us renew the ties with friends and make them last. It's great to be a child again at Christmas and all through the year. Time of year when there's magic in the air. Wherever I go, love is streaming everywhere. The people I meet on the street, I wanna greet them with a cheer. Forgive the hurts and disappointments of the past, help your friends and make them last. Be a child of Christmas and all through the year.
Welcome back to the CNN Philippines Christmas tradition. Jose Marichan, or Tito Joe, to me and to many, and his children, Liza, Joe, Michael Franco, and Angelica, are joining us here in this Christmas special. So this question will go first to the Chan siblings, and I want to begin with those who are joining us via Zoom. So that would be Joe, Michael Franco, and Angelica. In the past Christmas episodes, our specials, I would always ask you about what were your Christmases like when you were kids, and you would make kwento about New York, for example, diba? And so many other places. But now my question is, what kind of Christmases do you give your own children?
What we do still is the Advent calendar. So our youngest still gets excited every day to open the door for that day. So, for example, December 15th, what is the surprise lurking behind the door of December 15th? And so it's a countdown until you reach December 24th. So that's that continued with our kids as well.
Michael, I'm sorry, Franco muna. Franco, what about you?
Well, naturally, I think, you do what you know, right? So I think I've unconsciously been replicating the childhood I've had with my dad and my mom. For the childhood that I'm sort of giving to my daughter and as my little growing family. I guess that's how traditions are made, no? I guess if I were to say that sort of togetherness, following the theme that Dad said, if togetherness has always been sort of a tradition, whether happy or sad, stupendous, or even simple ones, all of them are special, and I think that is one tradition that that I definitely am imparting, and I want my kid daughter to sort of get used to. No choice.
Okay, well, Michael and Angelica pala don't have kids yet.
That's right.
Pero madadagdagan din yan, yung 8 grandkids. So we're going to go to Liza now. Liza, tell us.
Well, when I was growing up, as you know, I grew up in New York, and it was really just our immediate family. And so a big part of my Christmas were the religious traditions. So since my eldest was a young kid, I would bring him with me to Simbang Gabi, Misa de Gallo, and I think my kids still look forward to that excitement of they're tired, but then I wake them up and I say, we have to go. And then I try to involve them also with serving. It's better this Christmas because we're actually able to go to physical mass. Because I think really, I want to stress with my children that that's the most important reason for the season, right? I mean, it's not about the commercial Christmas, so we still do that.
That's true. Tito Joe, this Christmas, well, kanina you said na nga, no, you'd always have to like divide up the family, no? So Lisa's family first and Joe's for another, on other different nights. But this Christmas, what is it going to be like? Will you get together with the kids and the grandkids? Of course, given the pandemic, and then we have this new variant coming in. What are your plans?
Well, you know, I always stress upon my children that, especially because of this pandemic, the realization that the spirit of Christmas is giving and sharing. And so what better way, what better time to live that spirit of Christmas than now, because a lot of our people are suffering, a lot of people are unemployed, underemployed, and so in fact, in one of my songs that we all sang together, there's a portion there that that Franco sang, and I will let him now recite the words to that stanza of "I remember my Christmas when we went around." Frank, why don't you?
Yeah, it goes like that. It goes. I remember my Christmas when we went around.
Wait, why are you reciting it? Sing it na. Come on, let's hear that
I remember my Christmas when we went around. My daddy drove us down to some orphans in town. We gave lots of goodies away. Lots of happy faces made our day. We learned that giving and sharing is the real Christmas way.
Wow, giving and sharing, the real Christmas way. We'll have more on this CNN Philippines Christmas tradition with Joe Marichan and his children on Newsnight. Stay with us.
Gringo Honasan po. Sa pagbangon ng mga Pilipino, saludo ako sa mga taong patuloy na humaharap sa hamon ng pagbabago.
Bilang sundalo, tinataya kong aking buhay para sa ating kapayapaan.
Sa panahon ng pandemya, kami ang patuloy na humaharap sa frontline 24 oras.
Kaming mga guro ang gumagabay sa edukasyon ng mga kabataan.
Sa panahon ng krisis, ikaw, ako, magtulungan tayo. Gringo Honasan po. Saludo ako sa Pilipino.
Loren Legarda po. 18 years akong senador at nagsulong ng mga batas na nakakatulong sa mga nangangailangan. Free college education law.
Para sa aming edukasyon.
MSME law.
Batas para sa aming kabuhayan.
Climate Change Act.
Mga batas para sa kalikasan at climate change.
Mga batas na ginawa ko na napapakinabangan ngayon. Sana makatulong pa ako sa mas marami.
Loren Legarda.
This is a paid advertisement.
Libre ko San Miguel Beer, basta akin ang Tansan.
Tansan? Sa San Miguel Oktoberfest Instant GCash Panalo Promo, uulan ng up to 100 million pesos in GCash prizes. Buy any San Miguel beer, hanapin ang code sa crown. Kung meron, panalo ka! Iscan ang QR code sa mga posters at Facebook. I-type ang code and win!
Sali na!
Available in areas where allowed. See posters for full details. Promo runs from September 1 to December 31, 2021. Per DOH FDA CFR permit number 0424 series of 2021. Drink responsibly. Tandaan, laging i-check ang ilalim ng Tansan kung may winning code. Drink responsibly.
Gringo Honasan po. Sa pagbangon ng mga Pilipino, saludo ako sa mga taong patuloy na humaharap sa hamon ng pagbabago.
Bilang isang ina, handa akong gawin ang lahat para sa kaligtasan ng aking mga anak.
Pandemya man, tuloy pa rin ang serbisyo para malinis ang kapaligiran. Serbisyong publiko para sa kaligtasan ng lahat.
Sa panahon ng krisis, ikaw, ako, magtulungan tayo. Gringo Honasan po. Saludo ako sa Pilipino.
Loren Legarda po. 18 years akong senador at nagsulong ng mga batas na nakakatulong sa mga nangangailangan. Free college education law.
Para sa aming edukasyon.
MSME law.
Batas para sa aming kabuhayan.
Climate Change Act.
Mga batas para sa kalikasan at climate change.
Mga batas na ginawa ko na napapakinabangan ngayon. Sana makatulong pa ako sa mas marami.
Loren Legarda.
This is a paid advertisement.
RPN DXKP Pagadian. Ang inyong Radyo Ronda RPN. RPN. Radio Philippines Network. Radio Philippines Network. Live to the world. Pinaagi sa FB page. Karon, mag-download na. Pinaagi sa Google Play o Apple Store, YouTube o Twitter. Alang sa mas kipakuskan ng mga balita, komentaryo, kasayuran o kalingawan. Ang mas kipakuskan ng inyong Radyo Ronda.
Member, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
Well, the pandemic has forced us to value what is really important. So the question here is, what gifts are you giving this Christmas? I know earlier you said, Tito Jo, what's really important about Christmas. But can you share with us what gifts are you giving each other, if that's if that's okay? Tito Jo, you first.
Okay, so kids, what are you going to give mommy and daddy this Christmas?
Baliktad. Oo nga naman. Oo nga naman. Sige, dapat Michael and Angelica should answer that question first. Sige nga, Michael. What are you going to surprise them with? Clue na lang, clue.
Well, I was just talking to Mike about it. And perhaps just the gift of time and presence.
Oh, that's nice.
Given how many people are suffering everywhere, all over the world, especially many of our countrymen, at least in my case, I will be giving donations to charity or gifts in kind. And again, time spent, especially with those that I haven't seen in very, very long. I think that this pandemic has taught us the importance of being present and there for each other in this time of crisis.
So nicely said. Michael.
Yeah, Pia, there are certain charities and foundations which are very close to the hearts of my dad and my mom. So even more now than ever, during this pandemic, it's important to support these charities and foundations, which will really have a very positive impact on those who are going through a lot of difficulties now. Mm-hmm. So I think that'll be more meaningful to our parents this time.
I love how your dad redirects the questioning. Tamang-tama eh. So, Franco, can you answer that question?
Yeah, very similar also. Not charities definitely. Maybe a lot of them focus on the children because Christmas really is for the children as well. But I think another factor is that a lot of our religious institutions, many of especially our parishes and in churches haven't had masses in a long time, and for many times a lot of the donations there and the alms, they get a lot from just people who attend mass, and since we haven't had that in such a long time, we make sure to remember them So many times, I think through the example of mom and dad, we would oftentimes give them donations in their name. So I guess the surprise is which donation will it be? Which charitable institution will be this year?
You guys are so sweet. Joe. The younger Joe,
Yeah, I would say the same also, Pia. A practice among our titas and titos has been recently that in lieu of Christmas gifts, if we could donate to a charity of their choice, of their choosing. And so that has been actually a lot of the gifts that we've been giving this December to the less fortunate.
And Liza, I'm sure you're going to say the same thing, but there's also an added layer here because, like your other brother, one of your kids is abroad, no? So
Yes.
ibang klaseng Christmas to.
Yes. That's my son. Unfortunately, will not be with us this year. He will be the missing member of the family. So
don't cry.
Yeah. Thank God, though, for technology.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I studied abroad after college, I would be counting my quarters or to feed into the pay telephone, right?
Yeah.
But now we're spoiled. And so yesterday, I spoke with my son and I was saying, well, how are you? And, did you do this? And make sure that you pay for this bill. And then he just mentioned very casually, oh yeah, I spoke with Lolo and Lola. They called me and they call me regularly and they're asking how I am. So at least we feel reassured that we have that, because it's hard to travel now with the pandemic, right? You have quarantine and then testing, and so it makes it prohibitive to travel as easily as we used to do before.
Well, thank God for technology, like you said, no? I mean, the very thing that we thought kept us apart before the pandemic is the one that's keeping us together. So thank you for that, especially in pag-Christmas time, no? And it's so important for Filipino families to be together, or families all over the world, syempre. Final words na lang from Tito Joe. We'd love to hear from you, your Christmas message.
Well, I really hope and pray that this pandemic will soon be over. So I keep praying to Saint Joseph and to Mother Mary to help us. But anyway, I want to go back to your question. And the first thing that I want to do is to protect the people working for us, our employees. They're the first that you have to. And then, of course, you also help your parish churches. I'm talking now to the audience. Your parish churches need your help much more than ever. So I want to wish everyone a truly blessed Christmas, complete with God's loving blessings of good health, prosperity, and joy in your hearts. And I really hope, Pia, that this election we will be able to choose a leader with the help of God, that the leader who will have the vision to lift our country so that our people will have productive and better lives.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jose Marichan or Tito Joe. Thank you very much, and a Merry Christmas to you and to your children, of course, Liza, who's here in the studio, Joe, Michael, Franco, and Angelica. This has been a CNN Philippines Christmas tradition with Jose Marichan and his children here on Newsnight.
The onset of the cold Burr months and the long preparation leading to Christmas is something we all look forward to. However, it also comes with some illnesses that are common this time of year, and allergic rhinitis is one of them. It's an allergy-related inflammation of your nasal passages, your throat, and sometimes even your eyes. And while it's not contagious, sneezing due to the allergic reactions and immune responses can spread germs and put other people at risk of other diseases. Today, we'll learn more about the symptoms of allergic rhinitis, how to spot them, and what to do with regards to treatment as well as prevention. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and you're watching MedTalk Health Talk on CNN Philippines. We're here to build a healthier future for you. Now, allergic rhinitis is triggered by allergens, and allergens can be found in so many things: pollen, mold, cockroaches, insects, particles or flakes from skin from certain animals. That's why it's very important for any individual to understand what causes this, what triggers this condition. Now let's welcome our guests. Joining us is Dr. Maria Lourdes Enicilia. She's an ENT head and neck surgeon from Medical Center Taguig and St. Luke's Medical Center. Also with us is Dr. Fatima Joanna Santos Ocampo. She's a pediatric and adult allergist from the Asian Hospital and Medical Center. Now, for those with allergic rhinitis, the symptoms may be similar to other allergic reactions. I'll start first with Dr. Mari. Can we discuss what some of the common symptoms of someone who has allergic rhinitis are?
So with allergic rhinitis, rhinitis meaning nasal symptoms. So the usual nasal symptoms would be sneezing, and it's usually violent, like sunod-sunod na pagbahing. So several sneezes, one after the other. And you usually have watery nasal discharge, so yung matubig na sipon, di siya malapot, di siya makulay, it's usually very clear, and then nasal blockage. And sometimes the nose is very itchy, even the eyes. And for children, sometimes they cough also. And very classic with this, if you're talking about allergic rhinitis, is there's no fever.
Whenever they find these types of symptoms, what should they think about, Dr. Mari? Should they start thinking first that this is a viral type of illness, or is it more common that this could be an allergic type of reaction?
Well, for most of the patients with allergic rhinitis, you might have noticed already happening even when you were very young. So you sort of recognize it already. And again, if there's no fever or you feeling na magkakasakit, like your body pains, joint pains, then you would think more it's allergic rhinitis. And again, if there's a pattern, and then it will just go away. But if it's the symptoms are lasting the whole day, several days, and the mucus is becoming thick, and you feel bad or there's fever, then it might already be like a viral cold or even a bacterial nasal problem. So then you might need to consult your doctor.
When it comes to other related factors that could increase the chance of someone having allergic rhinitis, what could some of the more common things be, Dr. Mari?
If your parents, you have relatives, your siblings also have allergic rhinitis, you're more at risk for this. But it's also environmental that they found over the years. There's also what we call a hygiene hypothesis. So they found that those who actually were exposed to a lot of different infections, were playing outside when they were kids, they tended to have a better immune condition, and they did not have the allergic rhinitis. They did not develop it, unlike those who weren't really exposed during childhood. So that's what. And also your exposure to pollution, actually diesel fumes, they found that this can actually make you develop allergic rhinitis. So that's also a factor.
Now, Dr. Fatima, when it comes to this, yung environment natin, air pollution is increasing, the smoke is increasing from vehicles, lalo na dito sa Metro Manila. Are these surefire triggers, especially for someone who has allergic rhinitis?
Actually, it's a global thing. No, it's this pollution that's over the years, coming from fossil fuels and all that, has actually created, of course, what we all know as climate change. And what does it mean? Actually, that means that there is a real elevation. One of the things that's concerning is that the temperature, the environmental temperature has actually increased. No? These are irritants. They're not really allergens, but they're irritants. They really affect the functioning of our airway. They make them very responsive, yung umiipit, ganyan, kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng asthma attacks, no? And the same thing happens in the upper airway. It affects the lining of the upper airways, masyadong nai-irritate. Kaya yes, you'll have more of the sneezing, the runny nose, at saka yung congestion.
Now, I'd like to ask Dr. Mari, right now, papunta na tayo sa Burr months. Marami tayong mga changes in temperature, changes in weather. I'm sure a lot of our viewers do feel some of the symptoms coming from that. Nasal congestion, some irritation. Is this allergic rhinitis? How can we explain this better to our viewers?
So at this time of the year, with more moisture in the air, you can have more of the mold, more of the dust mites, and with wind, air current, sometimes the pollen, there's more pollen coming down or going around you. So yes, most patients will have more severe symptoms this time of year.
Now, Dr. Joni, what are some of the complications naman that can arise with allergic rhinitis that isn't identified or isn't managed effectively?
People with allergic rhinitis tend have more chances also to have asthma, by the way, allergic asthma. So I hope people would realize na if your allergic rhinitis is not controlled, it can actually trigger your asthma. So when you have asthma, you have to bear in mind na baka meron akong allergic rhinitis na hindi na-address.
Okay.
So that's very important. Ha? And then also other things, for example, yung pagkakaroon ng sinusitis, no? This is an inflammation of the lining of the sinuses, no? Dito sa loob ng upper airways, sa kaloob-looban. So you can have that. And that could really be very bad, more severe yung mga symptoms mo. And you can also have parang bacteria added to it. So you can have an infectious rhinitis, sinusitis tuloy, no?
Meron bang certain levels ang allergic rhinitis when it comes to its severity? Meaning, are there people who have allergic rhinitis pero tinitiis lang nila kasi nakakayanan naman nila? What can you say about people who are not getting treatment even in the mild forms?
You can have complications pag pinabayaan. So how do you know if you need to see a doctor? I usually say if you're having your symptoms every day or almost every day, like 4 times a week, and it's every week, and it lasts more than 1 hour. Now it's half the morning or even the whole day, and you can't even go out without having a handkerchief or your tissue paper, and you can't play sports, you can't sleep well. So even though natitiis nyo po yun, kung ganun yung effect sa inyo, then it's something that needs to be controlled, and you have to see a doctor to avoid the complications.
Up next, we'll talk more about the causes of allergic rhinitis and how you can control or prevent them. We're your connection to healthcare. You're watching MedTalk Health Talk on CNN Philippines. External factors can cause your allergies, and these allergens or irritants can vary from pollution to dust to pollen, among other things. Now we'll go more in depth with the allergens that can be found inside your home and how you can control and prevent any symptoms of allergic rhinitis. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and you're watching MedTalk Health Talk on CNN Philippines. We're together in health. Now, some plants make a fine particle called pollen that's light enough to travel through the air, and this is how these plants grow and reproduce. But inhaling this can be a trigger to an allergic reaction, especially in a tropical country like ours, where plant life is very abundant, even indoors. Now, Dr. Joni, how can pollen, specific pollen, actually be a trigger for allergic rhinitis?
Pollens come from plants, so weeds or grasses, mga trees, no? But they differ in character, in size, no? So in general, what we think of as allergenic are the ones that are very light, very tiny, no? Such that they can float. They can be carried by the wind, actually up to 400 miles, no? Depende sa wind, no? And of course, they can also enter our system better. So nakakapasok, nalalanghap mo siya. So those are usually the pollens that are responsible for our allergies.
Dr. Mari, can you give us some tips on how to keep our homes pollen-free, or for that matter, if I have a pollen allergy, what is the best thing for me to do?
If you've noticed that with your indoor plants, you're having more attacks, so maybe you need to change the plants that you have. Again, not every plant is allergenic. It's usually the ones that shed, a very small seeds or light flowering plants. Actually, we've seen less allergy for a lot of patients because they've been staying indoors, and when they go outdoors, they wear a mask. So that's actually one protection if you're particularly allergic to pollen, especially when it's very windy or there's thunderstorms, high wind rates. You would expect more pollen in the air. So actually using our masks have protected us.
Dr. Mari, when it comes to this, dust mites, these are very small bugs in someone's house. It can't be seen by the naked eye, but it can cause an allergic reaction for people. Is there anything that you could suggest for our viewers to potentially identify if they do have a dust mite allergy? Are there specific symptoms that they could watch out for, certain scenarios?
Dust mites are your most common allergens and very classic upon waking. When you wake up, you haven't even stood up, you haven't gone anywhere, you're sneezing, you have runny nose, you have nasal blockage. Most likely you're allergic to dust mites because the dust mites are in your mattress and pillows. And if you live in the Philippines, most likely you have dust mites in your mattress and pillows. That's accepted because they like the humid environment. So if you want to protect yourself from dust mites, there are dust mite covers. But remember, again, there's a limitation to their efficacy. Over time, it's not as effective, so you might need to change. And then they are killed by heat. So you just need to wash your beddings in warm water regularly. But even the mattress and pillows, ideally you expose them to direct sunlight or heat so that you can also kill the dust mites that are there.
Dr. Joni, can I ask you naman, meron bang difference ang dust mites and bed bugs? Because a lot of our viewers might confuse the two.
Bed bugs are larger than dust mites, no? Bed bugs you can actually see, easily. And dust mites are microscopic. For you to really see them, you really need a microscope, to see these creatures. They really like to go where the people lie down, we sleep, Similarly, the bed bugs also would like to go there. But then the bed bugs also would like to stay in your mga damit, yung mga seams ng mga folds sa mga damit, yung mga ganyan sa materials. Then, you can maybe see them. The bed bugs will not cause allergic rhinitis. However, there are people who can be sensitive to bed bugs, mind you, pero sa kagat nila, tsaka it's the skin, so you would see a pattern of rash na pwede mo sabihin, ay, yan, bed bug yan.
Dr. Mari, let's talk about molds. A lot of people may discount this, don't really think about this as something really dangerous, but they can lead to some really serious complications with someone's body.
We're very lucky in the Philippines. We have a lot of mold and dust mites. So they love the humid environment that we have. So we have to find ways also to limit our exposure to the mold because they really cause a lot of allergies. You have to remove any damp areas in your bathroom. You clean, you wipe down. Make sure there's the curtains, they tend to develop mold, damp clothes inside the closet. So you have to minimize these damp areas and decrease the humidity to less than 50% to lessen both the dust mites and the mold.
Dr. Joni, let's talk about pets. And are pets really the cause of a lot of allergic symptoms? How can true pet lovers deal with this? What can they do?
Well, as with any allergy, this is genetically determined. First, you have the predisposition nasa genes natin. A lot of times, I'd say 75% of the time. Now, ibig sabihin, may tendency ka na, so baka hindi mo maiwasan yon dahil meron yung nanay tatay mo na ipasa sa'yo. So, however, may mga studies rin naman that show that there are some parang tendencies na baka less ang expression ng allergy na yon kapag na-expose ka early in life. Now, if you have an allergy, established allergy already, so ang key pa rin natin is to prevent exposure. So, kung talagang hindi mo mailalayo or hindi mo pamimigay yung pet dog or cat, siguro at the very least, nasa iba silang room or outdoors kung pwede ang sitwasyon. No?
Now, this time of year, allergic rhinitis is so common. When we return, we'll talk about how to treat allergic rhinitis. Your health is our mission. This is MedTalk Health Talk on CNN Philippines. There are several ways to treat allergic rhinitis, and these include trigger avoidance, even medication, as well as even home remedies. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and you're watching MedTalk Health Talk on CNN Philippines, where your care always comes first. Treatment for allergic rhinitis depends on how severe your symptoms are and how much they're affecting your day-to-day activities. Dr. Mari, what are some of the more common medications available to treat or control allergic rhinitis?
From vitamins, supplements, to the over-the-counter anti-allergy medications, or what we know as the antihistamines. The decongestant, usually what you take for flu, which can help you also if you're very congested. But, I have nothing against this if you want to try it once in a while for your allergic rhinitis. But if you find that you're using it all the time, then maybe this is not the right medication for you. There are other medications that your doctor can give if you have symptoms all the time. It's not good to take these over-the-counter medications every day for a month, 2 months, a year. So you have to see your doctor already.
Now, Dr. Joni, when it comes to treatment, is it okay to try over-the-counter medications to control my allergic rhinitis? If my friend or my neighbor takes this medication for their allergic rhinitis, it may work for me as well. What's your advice on this?
Depends on what it is, no? Kasi when we say over-the-counter, honestly, the antihistamines, I think they should be prescribed with a prescription, but here, alam naman natin it's not so strict. So basically, it can be over-the-counter. So the pure antihistamines, the ones that don't make you fall asleep, they're part of the treatment of our allergic rhinitis. Now, it will depend on the severity, no? Ano ba ang effect sa'yo ng rhinitis mo? Is it really super bad? Then you have to go and talk to your doctor because the doctor can prescribe more than the antihistamines. So, meron tayong mga sprays para sa nose. For long term, hindi na yan ang ginagamit natin. Meron na tayong mga nasal steroid. And these are the most efficacious treatment for mga ganong klaseng rhinitis na talagang mahirap, matagal na.
Now let's talk about home remedies. Now, home remedies may be effective up to a certain extent, and it all depends on how severe your allergies can be. Now, we'll start first with Dr. Mari. What are some home remedies that our viewers can try if they do have allergic rhinitis symptoms?
One home remedy that you can try is washing the nose. Okay, but just remember there is a specific kind of fluid that you need to wash the nose that will not irritate or even damage your nose. So a home remedy is 1 liter of purified or distilled water, pwede ring pre-boiled tap, but not straight from the tap. And then 2 teaspoonfuls of non-iodized salt. So remember, it has to be non-iodized. Hindi pwede yung regular table salt. And then with 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Okay, and then you have to use it within 24 hours. You cannot use it for longer than that because then there will be already bacterial growth there. Okay, and that is something that you can do, a home remedy to clean your nose and to relieve the congestion.
Now, Dr. Joni, any tips or home remedies, home solutions that you could suggest for our viewers?
You must keep your home relatively, if you can, not dust mite free. We can never do that, but less dust mites in the area. So, like she mentioned, the washing in hot water of your beddings, no, and maybe you ought to not put carpets anymore, kasi they will be dust gatherers, no. So don't give it a chance to settle anywhere.
We hope you found our discussion today helpful. Thank you very much to ENT Head and Neck Surgeon Dr. Maria Lourdes Encilia and allergist Dr. Fatima Joanna Santos Ocampo. We want to be your partner for a lifetime of good health. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and this has been MedTalk Health Talk on CNN Philippines.